Hi, John, Mike, brew-foods.com, and this is the Throwdown of Saison. It's also known as a Saison Throwdown.
Saison Throwdown.
So I brewed a Saison, he brewed a Saison. I think we tried to get other people to submit their Saisons. I didn't really follow up with anybody, I'm so sorry. Maybe we'll do like a part 2 of this. So if you're a home brewer, you have a Saison, and you want to send it to us, let us know, and we'll give you the address. You can send it to us, and then we can have a larger tasting with like other people. Maybe other people we know. It's not just us. But I brewed one, and that's the one on right here in the Samuel Adams class, and then in the straight up pint class is Mike's. And I was going for the orangey look, so definitely have the darker of the two. I guess we can just start tasting. I can start talking about notes as you taste mine. So the grain bill was a mix of Belgian pale malts, some wheat, and then the yeast strain, which I think is the most important ingredient, was one of the hybrids that White Labs puts out. I think it's WLP 568. So I think that's like a French and Belgian strain together, and interesting results from my perspective. It finishes really dry. I think that's the best part of it. But there's like a more clovey, spicy taste to it.
Yours is definitely spicier than mine.
Yeah.
There's a pronounced spiciness to it.
So tell me about yours.
So
before I do.
my approach with mine was to take my recipe. Basically, it's 30%. Well, it's 1/3 Pilsner, 1/3 Vienna, and 1/3 wheat. So I'm actually using a heavy amount of wheat in comparison to a lot of other recipes I saw. Yep. For some reason, to me, just blending those 3 ingredients together at equal proportions sounded cool to me. I mean, it just sounded good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what percent wheat is in yours, Ish? Do you remember offhand? Like 10%, 15%? Like that?
Probably, I don't know, 10,
You put like a pound or
20,
pounds?
probably a couple pounds.
Okay.
I have to look at the recipe. I should really have it in front of me so I can talk to it.
That's fine.
But yeah, I mean, you can look on our site; it's there.
Yeah.
And you know, all this video, you'll know that I'm totally mistaken.
Yeah. I'm happy with the color of mine. I mean, I think it's a little darker than like a Saison Dupont.
Yeah.
Which is a little more strawy yellow. Mine's got a tinge of the orange, but I like the color that it came out at.
I like the fruitiness of yours. It has a nice tang to it.
Yeah.
There's like a lemony, which is what I've made before. My strain didn't kick out.
Yeah, there's really no citrus in yours.
There isn't. Yeah,
there isn't much fruit.
It's that peppery stuff, I guess. It's not. It's a little bit of clove, but mostly that spicy, peppery.
What kind of hops you got in yours?
I think Noble. I think I had a few Noble pouches left over from other brews. So Hallertauer. I think I might have thrown in some East Kent Goldens in there too. You know.
But that works with the French style. And that's where they were getting some Kent Goldens. I bittered mine with Magnum for a nice clean bittering at 60 minutes, and then I went with Tettnang, U.S. Tettnang at 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I actually finished with a little Tettnang at like Flame Out. So about an ounce at 20 minutes, an ounce at Flame Out for Tettnang.
Well, I think that if I were to choose a beer, it'd be yours, just because it's that citrusy taste that hits you right up. It's so thirst quenching and such. Mine ends dry. I mean, it's light. It's certainly has a nice consistency in its carbonation and head, but from a taste perspective, it just doesn't hit the mark. I think it's a nice, kind of a
Belgian, it just needs a little more ester quality to it. Some of that citrus. Well, let's talk about where the money hits the road in Saison, and that's yeast and fermentation.
Yeah, and I hit, some people were like, well, why didn't you go up to 90 degrees on terms of my my fermentation temps? And I got into the 80s at times. Like I think it was like the low 80s, but it was like very high 70s. And it's just because the yeast was producing. It didn't seem like I needed to get up any higher. And also, I used ambient temperatures, and I missed the hot week.
Yeah.
I did. I missed the week before. It was in the 90s for a good stretch, and then the next week it was more low 80s, and that's my basement. That's all I did. I mean, I guess I could have made it a little warmer with like some kind of heating pad or something, but I saw it producing. It wasn't like it had died. And I think sometimes, when people use that DuPont strain, it crashes out, like tens of points above where they want to end. So that's why they have to get it to those high temperatures, to get the yeast to wake up again, to get it down to where you want it.
You use that blend, which is supposedly a little bit French and a little bit Belgian.
Yeah, and it doesn't really need. I think it was fermenting like crazy for a good 10 days. You know, I didn't have to do anything about it in terms of temperatures.
What was your terminal gravity? Do you remember?
10.6. Yeah, 1.006.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. What was your starting gravity roughly? Remember?
Probably in low 50s.
Low 50s. Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I mean, it really it did its job. I just don't think it got the. There's kind of like a, I don't know, cruddy taste to it at the end. Right? It's like kind of it's dry and it's bitter. You know, there's like a real bitterness to it. It's like a muddy taste. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's not pepper, but it's something else.
Yeah, definitely fermentation derived. Could have been a. It could have been the Belgian strain starting to slow down a little bit and struggle. Yeah. And then the French strain picked up and finished it off for you. I don't know, but
I wouldn't use this blend again. I'll tell you. I think that I'd rather either use the Saison 1 or the Saison 2. I'd go in it with the Saison 1 and know that it might crap out on me, but just power through, figure it out.
Well, what I've heard about Saison 1 is that, the thing that people really do is they go into these high temperatures because it craps out, but I remember hearing on a podcast, I think Neva Parker at White Labs was talking that that Saison strain that poops out all the time and takes some time to come back, and that's why people go to high temperatures, is really an O2 oxygen-dependent strain. It really needs a big blast of oxygen to start. So my beer is a little bit different fermentation schedule, actually. Oh, really? And I was blown away. I was blown away by what happened with mine. Is that do you remember what temperature you pitched yours at? Like what temperature did you start at? I mean, ambient. So let's just say you were like 70 or. It was
probably it was probably like 70 or 72. Yeah.
I went with my normal fermentation routine. So I chilled my beer down to 65 degrees the night before I pitched the yeast. So I brewed 65 degrees. Then the next day I put my yeast in there, and then what I did is I reset the temperature to 68. So after it had a day of 65, it goes to 68 and let it bring itself to 68, and I held it there for another 3 days. And then I reset the thermostat to 72 and let it free rise through fermentation to 72 if it got to 72. The beer never went above 75 degrees. Wow. And the yeast strain that I used was the dry Lellemand Belle Saison.
How about that? Yeah.
And the other thing, which I was blown away, I never went, but I did give it a big blast of O2 at the beginning. Like normally I use pure CO2 and an oxygen stone, and I might go for 30 seconds to a minute depending on the gravity. This beer I went and I counted out a good minute and a half, almost 2 minutes of oxygen into the beer before I pitched the yeast. So never getting really above 74 degrees. That yeast took it from 1060 down to 1002.
Wow, how about that? Very
good. The esters are there. Yeah. So, it's well known high O2 rates in any yeast strain do tend to give you higher ester qualities. So that might be somewhat related. But I was totally blown away, and I checked it like 3 times because I couldn't believe it was 1002. Yep. But it's super dry. Yep. But there's enough fruity esters there that actually seem sweet. Yeah. Yeah. So for me and my money, Belle Saison from Lellemand, I would go back to that yeast and try it again. At least it certainly bears experimenting. That's for sure.
Well agreed. Yeah. I think
for all we talk about liquid yeast strains having the variety. Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is my first Saison, and I'm really happy with that using dry yeast. Because I was kind of in a pinch for time. I just want to get it brewed, and I really wanted to try that because it's a new yeast, and I think it worked out great. And I didn't have to go to like weird lengths to try to get it up to 90 degrees, things like that.
Yeah. So cool. All right, this is our throwdown. If you're interested in having us taste your and other people taste your Saison, let us know. Contact us. You can email us or leave a comment. We'll get in touch with you and throw down with us in these Saison. For John and Mike at Brew Dash Dudes, brew on.
Brew on.
Brew on. This is good.
Saison.
Saison.